Hello everyone, Ron here from RJJ's Reactions, and I'm back with Morrissey. Morrissey's song, The World is Full of Crashing Boars. It's a little bit of a longer title, and I'm sure we can all appreciate that sentiment from time to time. We've been in a room filled with people who are, at least to us, a bit boring, but they might not be. It all depends on your own interests, etc. I don't know exactly what he's talking about here. We'll have a look at the lyrics after we listen to the song. So let's have a listen to Morrissey. Okay, are you ready? I'm not sure why he's holding a gun there. Is he shooting the board? Morrissey, you are the quarry. That's for the album, so maybe for some other songs, I don't know. The world is full of crashing boards.
You must be wondering how the boy next door turned out. Have a care, but don't stare, because he's still there, lamenting. Policemen, silly women, taxmen, uniformed whore. They who wish to hurt you work within the law. This world is full.
Morrissey has a very distinctive voice, doesn't he? I mean, I think if you heard a Morrissey song and you've listened to a few, then you would immediately know that it was Morrissey. It's one of those voices you would pick up on right away. I'm just going to back that up a little bit.
Work within the law. This world is full. So full of crashing balls, and I must be one, 'cause no one ever turns to me to say, take me in your arms, take me in your arms, and love me. You must be wondering how the boy next door turned out. Have a care and say a prayer, because he's still there, lamenting. Policemen, silly women, taxmen, uniformed whores, educated criminals work within the law. This world is full. So full of crashing balls, and I must be one, 'cause no one ever turns to me to say, take me in your arms, take me in your arms, and love me, and love me. What really lies beyond the constraints of my mind? Could it be the sea with fate mooning back at me? No, it's just more lockjaw pop stars, thicker than pig shit, nothing to convey. They're so scared to show intelligence, it might smear their lovely career. This world, I am afraid, is designed for crashing balls. I am not one, I am not one. You don't understand, you don't understand, and yet you can take me in your arms and love me, and love me. Take me in your arms and love me, love me, love me. Take me in your arms and love me, take me in your arms and love me. Would you do what you should do? Oh, oh, oh.
I think we've reached the end of the song there. Let's see. 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 Let's Okay, well, a very distinctive voice, as I mentioned. You always know it's Morrissey if you've heard Morrissey before. It's a decent song. I think it's more about the lyrics, to be honest, than anything else. I'm going to have a look at the lyrics in a moment. It's not the kind of song I would probably put on repeat, but I think the lyrics are interesting. So let's have a look at those now. So the world is full of crashing bores. Okay, so you have to be careful sometimes when you think that you're not the one being boring. I often tell uh, students, the students of mine, I run a private tutoring service, and sometimes they'll say, "Oh, I'm so bored," and I say, "Well, you must be very boring then because you're not able to engage yourself. You're not able to find an interest." And I'm joking, and we tease and we laugh back and forth. But there's a certain truth to that, right? And I'm guilty of it as well sometimes. If I feel I'm getting bored, then what am I doing about it? What am I doing to make that better? But I don't know. Let's look at these lyrics. This may be different here. You must be wondering how the boy next door turned out. Have a care, but don't stare. So you care about him, but you don't want to stare at him. You don't want to judge him, I think. Maybe that's what that means. You don't want to judge too much because he's still there lamenting police women, policemen, silly women, taxmen, uniformed horrors. They who wish to hurt you work within the law. So I was smiling a bit, and there's a couple of lines like that throughout the song, I think. So yeah, sometimes the people who are officials, let's say, in some capacity, are the ones that are there to hurt you, or they're theoretically there to help you, but sometimes they end up hurting you. So there's a certain fact there. There's a certain truth there. The world is full, oh, so full of crashing bores. And I must be one because no one ever turns to me to say, "Take me in your arms, take me in your arms, and love me." Okay, so it. I was going to say his voice sometimes sounds a bit like he's a crooner, but the lyrics don't really match with what you normally think of as crooners, like Bennett or uh, well, the name Sinatra. The name evades me, um, but um, but sometimes his voice sounds a little bit like that. Um, yeah, I don't. Are you a bore because no one wants to turn to you and say, "Take me into your arms"? I'm not so sure about that sentiment. I think that's probably not right. And that's one thing I would say about Morrissey. Morrissey always has something to say, but I don't always agree with him. I'll probably talk about that in a minute. You must be wondering how the boy next door. Okay, so have a care and say a prayer because he's still there. And then we have the similar lines from above. Educated criminals work within the law. So again, he's talking about police officers, probably politicians, people like that who are educated, um, and they work within the law, but in a sense they're criminals because they're stealing from you or they're abusing you in some other way, making up laws. There's been some recently in America that are questionable for sure, hurting people, taking away freedoms, etc. This world is full, so full of crashing bores, and I must be one. Okay, so we've sort of covered that. Take me in your arms. Um, what really lies beyond the constraints of my mind? Could it be the sea with fate mooning back at me? So is there, so we have constraints. We have our brain, and that constrains us to everything. Our perceptions and the way that we interpret those perceptions is all within this little space. But could there be a whole sea of information and whatnot out there, and fate is mooning back at him, reflecting back at him? No, it's just more lockjawed pop stars, thicker than pig shit, nothing to convey. So scared to show intelligence, it might smear their lovely career. So instead of having a lot more out there, there's just um, this packaged product that's coming out from everybody. Lockjawed pop stars, just people who have really nothing to say. Their music is it may be pretty, but there's no context, there's no content, there's no depth. Um, I don't know if they're so scared to show intelligence. In some ways, it's more profitable, I think, to go with the flow and to be And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with packaging up something enjoyable, something pretty, something that a lot of people are going to like. It's going to be very popular. Sometimes it's a dirty word. I remember even when I was young, a long time ago, um, you either liked this band or you liked this band. It's like you couldn't like them both at the same time. Why not? But I always thought that was a bit strange. And there's a lot of people who, you know, if you don't completely understand the depth of this particular singer or this particular band, then you're not really a fan. And I don't know about that. I'm not sure if I agree with that. But I get the general sentiment that yes, sometimes it's annoying. I just don't listen to the music that I don't like, and if there's nothing if there's nothing in the lyrics, I usually, I can listen to it in the background, but it's not something I'll pay a lot of attention to generally. Um, this world, I am afraid, is designed for crashing bores. Well, yes, a lot of people just want to go along to get along. I am not one. I am not one. You don't understand. You don't understand. To be honest, I find that a bit boring, or boorish. You just don't understand me. But I get the point. I think maybe I said this before with Morrissey. I think he's got a sense of humor that's beneath, and I think he does things deliberately sometimes in his music, anyway. And yet, you can take me in your arms and love me, love me, and love me. Take me in your arms. Would you do what you should do? Okay, well, would you love me? Well, maybe somebody, I'm sure people do love him. Um, yeah, I think the lyrics are quite interesting, and he is saying something about the world that sometimes we just accept mediocrity, because none of us want to make waves, none of us want to cause trouble, none of us want to be criticized, so we agree, even when we don't agree, or even when maybe we do have other thoughts, but it's easier just to go along. It's easier just to go along to get along, like I say. Um, I've heard Morrissey speak on some political topics and other things outside of music, and I generally don't agree with him, actually. I have a lot of problems with Morrissey's political thoughts and other things. But his music is good. He has a good voice. He has a distinctive voice, as I say, and some of his lyrics, in this case, the lyrics have some meaning behind them, and that's always important for me. So I do appreciate that, and I do like that. Um, and he's arguing that the world is full of crashing bores. Uh, I could probably have a good argument or debate with him about that. I think he's right, and I think he's wrong at the same time. So now I'm being contradictory of myself. But I think it may be true in a way, but sometimes that's the way that you survive and that the world survives. It's If you are always contradictory, it's not very helpful. We don't get very far. If we're always in conspiracy theories, we don't get very far either. I'm not sure that that's where he's going, but nevertheless, yeah, good song. Better lyrics than the song, I would say, to be honest. I think the lyrics are much more interesting for me, but there is that voice, which is good. Let me know what else you'd like to hear, either from Morrissey or from other musicians and singers. In the meantime, it's Ron from RJJ's Reactions. Keep listening, keep having fun, and it's okay to disagree. Bye bye for now.